Welcome to Conscious Conversations with Alexandria and Daren. How y'all doing today? How are you doing, Alexandria?
I'm doing great, Darren. Hoping everyone else is as well. It's a bright, sunny day here in
Yeah, same
Ontario for
here.
cold but bright and sunny. So
Yeah,
it's
we got
nice.
after some rain we had. Yeah, it's now it's the sun's out. It's beautiful. If you haven't already, get yourself some nature.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we haven't it's been a little bit since we recorded one of
It's true.
these. So this is gonna be fun. We wanted to talk a little bit and just how we feel as far as us having free will. And we kind of did a which you might have seen the episode where we did the BQH session on this very similar topic. It was very close to it, where the divine
So that's a
council took,
hypnosis session for those who
yeah,
aren't
yeah,
up on the lingo.
the hypnosis session we did on Alexandria, the Beyond Quantum Healing session with the Divine Council 12. So yeah, we figured it was something that was important to talk about, like actually have a podcast on it, you know. So maybe if you want to start, Alexandria.
Well, I really like just kind of recap the message that we received is that they said that we do have free will. And it's a combination. You had asked, is it how much is preordained and how much is free will? And so what they basically outlined for us was that, the prior to incarnating, we have an idea, we have a soul contracts, we have agreements that we make, and we have things that our soul wants to do. So we're here to basically so that our soul has a vehicle to operate through so that it can achieve these things that it wants to achieve, experience these things, not necessarily achieve, but experience what it wants to experience. So, but within that, there's such a plethora of options that I'd say we definitely have our free will. But something that really stuck in my mind that they said is that that the Divine Council of 12 had said is that our soul seeds our heart with these desires, what the soul wants to accomplish, it seeds our human heart with, so that what your heart wants, your soul wants. So don't think you're, acting contrary to, like, if I really, really want to, they had used the example of move to Antarctica and everybody say, no, don't do that. It's not safe to go into uncharted territory sort of thing. But if that's what your heart wants, your heart wants it because your soul wants that experience. So, but there's still like so many different options. Like you might decide, I'm going to go, but you know what? I think I really want to go on this day. I'm going to veer from my course to Antarctica. I'm going to take this layover in this place and go see a relative there, or go to you know, a museum or something there, and then hop back on the plane and go to, so like you can still move these things around and do what suits you in the moment. And so I really liked that. And I liked how they also said sometimes you're going to feel like you want to do that and you think it's like all of you, but in reality, the other person, say you're supposed to be meeting somebody, they've also veered off their path and kind of did a course correction and kind of come back to it. So, but just one last thing, and then I'll leave it. I'm just sort of summarizing what really stood out for me with them. They did say that, like, say, using the same analogy, because they're storytellers, they like to share analogies. And they were saying, say you're on your day trip and you decide to take yourself off the beaten path, which is what your GPS or you could say your soul path or your life path, and you decide to take this little detour to this road that looks intriguing, and next thing you know, you're in cottage country, and all of a sudden you went from being on a highway to a smaller, like a secondary road, to now you're like cottage country. So you're like barely a trail, and they're full of very steep turns and hills and things, and you have to actually go back because it's not right for your vehicle. It's not safe for your car. Your car isn't a off-roader maybe, so you have to kind of go back to where you can safely navigate. So you're being course corrected back to where you're meant to be. So that's just an analogy to saying, like, things can get pretty rocky when you get off your path. you know, basically is what they were saying. And you might want to explore the rocky path. You might even say, well, I'm going to park and hike for a while. You totally can do that. But at some point, if you want to keep going, you know, you might, now I'm adding my own analogy in here, but you might need to just get back in the car, back it up and get back. GPS will get course correct. And from here, okay, to be back on your path that you outlined, you need to turn around and go back, or you need to do this and that. And next thing you know, lo and behold, you're back on a regular road. So all that just to say that if there's something you want to do it, you know, as long as it's, you know, highest good of yourself and all of that, but not to like lay awake thinking, well, what if I'm off my path and I'll never achieve what my heart wants or my soul wants? Because I feel like you'll always be guided back. You'll always be guided back to that. It's like a homing device. You'll always be guided back to that. So that's my thoughts on based on what they revealed to us the other
A
day.
whole lot came up for me. I mean, yeah, this topic is hot. I mean, this
What
topic.
came up for
No,
you?
I mean, this topic just it's just like, I mean, because it's just like, well, first off, I feel like when you, well, there's several things that came up. The separation from self, like from your higher self, where you, I feel like when you were saying like, oh yeah, if you're going to go veer off course, I feel like at that point you're disconnected from your higher self. So that's the resistance aspect. That's the human or the ego side of you, you know. And I feel
Yes,
like,
your life could get rocky, not necessarily the road. Like that's an analogy, but
oh
like
yeah,
you'll
yeah, no,
notice your
yeah,
life
yeah,
isn't going smoothly
yeah,
because
yeah,
you're not on your path,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and that's how
And
you kind of get back on it.
totally. And I feel like that has to do with the disconnection from the higher self,
Yeah,
which so many
yeah, I
are.
agree. Yeah,
And not to mention, I feel like when whatever is good and bad, whatever you want to deem good and bad, because I really feel like there is no good and bad. I just feel like
yeah,
we've labeled things good and bad and whatever you want to call it. But I feel like if you want to use that duality, you're just separated from source, at that point, which
yeah,
you're not going to be connected to your higher self, which is leading you. You're not going to have those moments of pulse, what's the word, like pulses, I would call it, like where you feel this massive nudge and it's noticeable, that's kind of leading you, and you go from step to step to step, which
yeah, yeah,
just unravels this whole thing that you're like, oh my God, how did this happen so quickly? Meaning like in a good way, like how did this whole business get set up and done this fast? I don't even feel like I even played a part in doing it.
yeah,
A lot
yeah,
of those things are the higher self taking, but are not going to do that if you're in resistance or fighting, and not leaning into the feeling, and what you're getting. And I feel like it's interesting because I feel like we're moving back into that direction as a collective, where we're coming back to being one with our human and our higher self, where our higher self is more in the driver's seat, if you want to call it, and there's going to be less veering off your path, uh
yeah,
and but yet okay, so when you say free will and you say choice, right? um there's so many misconceptions about how much of it is blank before we come here, like you're painting the canvas as you go, or there's and I know we talked about this a little bit too as well. I remember now. um you know uh
yeah. Because in a prior call or yeah, prior session, with the council, the divine council, they talked about like if like planning, like in the they used a different analogy, like your itinerary. Like if you were planning a trip to, I think they said Tahiti, you're not just gonna get on a plane and land there. You're gonna arrange for your hotel. You're gonna arrange for a car if you're doing that. You're gonna, there's things, steps to take, and you will have things that you want to do while you're there. You're not just going to go there and go, oh, I wonder what there is to see and do here. You're going to be, crazy excited. You're going to be researching it. You're going to, oh, I want to go to this place. I want to go to that beach. I want to go to that. restaurant. I want to, experience this and that while I'm there. So you might be there for 10 days. So if one day you decide, you know what, I'm just kind of worn out, I just want to veg on the beach today. I'm not going to do it. That doesn't mean that you're not living your, um, creating your destiny. You're just taking a day to revitalize. The next day you're going to be all recharged and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go whatever you do in Tahiti. I have no idea because I've never, looked into that. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you would have these things that you would want to achieve. So I think that's part of it. Those things are built in, they're seated in our hearts. They're
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say that to you. Like for example, like if you're like really good, like you can pick up an instrument and you can just play it. You know what I mean? Like there's no like you don't need to really even practice. It was like you
yeah,
almost incarnated with that like as a baby, like and that
yeah, yeah,
ability. And then that's kind of like like embedded in your soul signature, so to speak,
yeah.
which
Oh,
then kind of
yeah, for
now,
sure.
of course, you have a choice because some people, I remember when I was going to school, they were like really good at tennis or certain sports, but yet didn't pursue something in that, and yet they could
Because
have
maybe they
probably,
did that last life, and
yeah,
they're like, yeah, I know
yeah,
what this is when this consumes my whole life, and I don't want to do that again. I
yeah,
don't need to be a superstar. I can enjoy it on Saturdays and do
hmm
something else.
and where they could have and been like this super NBA player or something like that, like yeah, having they came in with it like a little kid, and it was like natural, but yet chose not to go down that path, you
So
know.
maybe this life, they're like, okay, this life I want to study uh, anatomy, and I want to, help people who have sports injuries because I
Yeah,
know so many of my people,
true.
this
Yeah.
is, or I want to create a better runner or something that's going to alleviate those things because I so many of my teammates in that, not that we remember that, but from a soul perspective. You know what I mean? It's just, but just to say, we do have free will. We're not just walking around like pre-programmed robots or something like we have to do these things. We have no choice. That's just another form of slavery. I feel like
No, yeah,
that's,
but I still like what comes to mind the most, and I don't remember if this was one of the things they said with bumpers, like
oh,
there's like different bumpers and you're like going through your life, but like I still think that there's to a certain extent, yes, we have free will, but there's a limit to it because I think that as far as humanity has gone, where even like back to the days of Atlantis, where it's like the more people that are so far gone, meaning like separated from source and from
yeah.
themselves, the more chaos, and so I feel like there's got to be an intervention point or a point where, you know, yeah, you have free will, but up to a certain point,
I
where,
think that's probably true.
yeah,
But
I
there's
mean,
also like things like that you may not feel the desire to do those things because it's not part of who you are. You're not going to necessarily want to go, if you're talking about doing things that are going to harm other people. Well, if it's I think most of us are not looking to harm other people. I think most people want to help and have a positive impact on the world. I think you have to be pretty disturbed to want to.
maybe now more than ever, though. I mean, in the past, I think it was a lot, years back, thousands of years back. I think it was much different, uh,
What was like, yeah,
like,
it was all about, much more about survival than the
yeah,
things you would
yeah.
do
And
just to
yeah,
survive.
yeah,
You know,
exactly. And now I think, yeah, there's more people, more humans on the planet that want to have open hearts. But still, I still think there's a certain point where you get to a certain extent where you have free will, up to a certain point, of how much you can veer off, or like you said, like these bumpers, um, where, oh, okay, like you're really going to, um, like they say, like you get like these wake
yeah,
up
there's,
calls, you get a wake up
yeah,
call or you hit rock bottom or something like that,
yeah,
where it's like
yeah.
finally enough is enough. And I've heard that not only in my own life, but so many people that have turned out to be massive influencers or life changers for so many, most of them had the same exact story at the end where they hit rock bottom and they were on their knees and they're like, that's it, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And it got to that point where you're like, no, like something's got to change. And I know that I was there multiple times in my life, and that is the catalyst which then course corrected you. Not always, not always. Like I remember my dad saying all the time, some people will have it over and over again, these catalysts, and yet still they don't change.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it does depend on the person and how badly they want it, which is free will.
Yeah.
But um yeah, I think that's the massive course correction when you get down to that point where you're like, enough is enough, I can't do this anymore, you know? Because a lot of
Yeah, I
people,
agree. I agree. A lot of people bounce back from there because everything has to come kind of crumbling down. And
yeah,
that's what's happening in a lot of individual lives. It's actually happening
yes,
on a much larger scale right
oh
now,
yeah, oh yeah,
So when I think of that, I think of like the in tarot, I think of it like the tower
yeah, the tower, yeah,
card. And
exactly,
it's
yeah,
like everything is crumbling so
yeah,
that you can make something with a stronger foundation. So it looks like total chaos, and people go, "Oh my God, what's happening there?" But it's actually
a
can be seen
positive
as a really
thing.
positive card.
But
Yeah.
how do you look at it though, is the question, like the council was saying in this one thing I was just listening to. It's like, and I've been getting it in messages left and right about the lens you're looking through. What lens
Yeah.
how are you looking through what lens? Like I channeled this morning and the message so clear, which I keep receiving multiple times, is you could have two people standing watching the same exact thing, the same altercation, and yet view it completely different depending on the lens they're looking at it through. So you both are standing right next to each other, watching the same altercation, and yet your stories are completely different as to what you felt, what you saw, and what you experienced, depending on
Yeah.
how you looked at it, you
Yeah,
know?
that's true.
And it's like, I know a lot of people in my own life that I was close to that stayed in situations because it was comfortable. No matter what
Hmm.
suffering they were experiencing, health wise or whatever, they just stayed in it. For other people, for that people pleasing mentality, whatever you want to call it, because they didn't want to ruffle feathers, but in actuality, they were creating suffering for themselves by resisting what they knew was not good for them, but still
Yeah.
continued to do it. And that to me is like, yeah, that's free will. That's really taking your free will like ticket, and just saying, you know what, screw it. I don't care what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. I'm just going to do it anyways. And you're like resisting that the bumpers and the nudge to like course correct, and
Yeah.
you're like, screw it, no, I'm what's the word, like exercising my free will.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and I see it. I know people that have done it, are still doing it, and they're in marriages
I'm
that
very
aren't
acquainted with
working.
that.
They're in relationships that don't serve them, and they're just doing it because of everyone else around them, or they just that's all they know. And I can understand it from certain points, because it's like sometimes you're entangled so deep, and that's all you know, and you're like, how do I felt that in my life many times. I'm like, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get out of this with the least explosion possible? And there's like really no way to, you're going to make people, there's going to be people that you're going to upset and not make, that aren't going to be okay with it, about you choosing the path that feels good in your heart and your soul,
Yeah.
and a lot like with like the stuff I've been doing, like, I mean, it's like light language and all these different things that are not of the norm,
Yeah.
and it's like, I used this the last time, I think, and I really like this, because it's like defines me so well, which is like taking the path less traveled, you
Yeah.
know?
I always feel like I've always done that too.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, yeah, I mean that's like one of the my that defines me so well, from when I was a little kid. I never went with the path that everyone took, So and that feels good to me though. That's not me that's not me exercising free will and saying, no, you know what? Because I really truly believe that the higher self, which is us, the
Yeah.
difference is the human and the ego. That's the thing that's people don't realize. They're like, oh, but you made that choice. But like, it's like, I try to explain that, and it's hard to explain, you know? It's like, really, honestly, man, your higher self is always leading you no matter what. It's like the part that you're not listening to is when you resist with your human and your ego and say, no, I'm not going to do that. Because that goes against what everyone else knows me of, you know?
Yeah, and you don't want to be seen as like, oh, depending on what it is, if it's something like
Yeah.
the light language or even channeling, or even
Yeah.
like a lot of the things that I've done over the course of my life that were viewed as like, that's pretty weird, that's pretty out there, that's, so you can kind of keep it under wraps, or you can just, publish a book, maybe, go on a TV talk show,
Yeah. Yeah.
or host your own series and just be like, this is what I'm all about. And whether people understand it or whether they don't. Some people do. And like 25 years ago when I was doing those things, it was a little bit not as commonplace as it is now. So I was, carving, forging a path for myself and for those to come behind me. And I certainly see it play out like in my life, that how it's easier for my successors, like even in my family who are doing similar kinds of work, or now it's more accepted. It's more, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
But it
And
wasn't always. Somebody had to
no,
somebody had to whack down all the weeds
no,
and
heck
move the big
no, it wasn't.
rocks,
No
and
way. I mean,
like
no, no, I mean, no way at all. Like I said, with my dad, he did the same thing, you know, and then I was doing it. I followed after him, you know, seeing him do it over and over again, you know. Um, the amount of times I saw him fighting in the school system, you know, for us, you know, just all kinds of things, you know, just yeah, it's definitely not an easy path, and you definitely lose people that um don't want to associate with that, you know, and that's part of it. But you know, they're there to show you something. They're there, it's for you and by you. I really do truly believe that everything is for us and by us, and we're doing it for us to grow and evolve. Do we need to do that? No, I don't believe in the future it's going to be like that. You know, I don't think we have to go through
yeah.
suffering to expand and
No, I
grow.
don't think we will either.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be much more we are becoming much more conscious of the things we're doing, and even exercising our free will, you know. That I don't
So let
think.
me just,
Go ahead.
sorry, I just have a different angle. It's just kind of coming through it,
Yeah, go ahead.
and it did come through in hypnosis. They did use the tarot as an example, and they do that because they draw on what's happening in my human too, because it's they're using, I'm being of service to allow them to come through. But I'm studying, like giving like a really deep dive into a particular deck right now, like that has but just has the tarot card and stuff, the original Rider Waite. But anyway, so you can say, get that overview from yourself or from somebody else, and they can show you like, this is what's going, if nothing changes, that's essentially like, because it's drawing on your energy, it's mirroring you back to you. So it's like, if nothing changes, this is likely to be the outcome of this. But you can make that decision right on the spot and go, no, I'm not going to, I'm changing that because I don't like that outcome. So I'm going to change what I'm doing right now. I'm going to exercise my free will, and I'm going to extradite myself from whatever the situation or relationship or whatever, what have you, and change the outcome. And then if you were to do, the next day, if you were to do another card spread, it's going to project something, completely different again, because you've changed your belief system around that, you're changing your actions around that, and so the outcome is also going to change. So I just think it's like, I don't know, like for me, I don't really have a question around it. I just feel like, yeah, we have some things that we wanted to do while we were here, and but we can do that, or let nobody's keeping score if we don't experience those things on this soul's journey,
Mhm.
this soul visit. It'll be another time. So we're here. I feel like we work in conjunction with like our personality self, our human self, along with our
Yeah.
higher self.
Yeah,
And we
true.
have those goals. I mean, the soul is the one, like, and they even kind of said, if you want to say some, it's not really a hierarchy, but they are kind of, the higher self is really, you know, not in charge. I don't know if that, I don't feel like that's exactly, but
It
that's what
knows
they said, if you
everything
want to
though.
look at it that way.
It
Yeah, it's
knows
like the
everything.
higher
Yeah,
self.
it knows everything. I
So,
mean,
and it's going to be like, well, if you don't want to do this life, I guess we're coming back around again,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
So if your goal is to kind of, you know, just continue on your ascension and you don't want to keep coming back to play on the earth plane, then maybe when you're getting those nudges that say, you know, it would be really good for you to step out in this way, or really good for you to leave that, or recognize what you're creating or miscreating, you know, you can follow that guidance. If you don't, you just get to do it all again
And not
and
me. I
make
said it.
different
I said heck
choices.
no. I said heck no. I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time, a while
yeah,
ago, I said I'm completing it in this life, you know? And then
yeah.
to hope that if I do come back, it'll be like one of those lives like I heard someone talking about the other day, where you just come back as like a leisurely life and you have no
Yeah,
mission, no nothing. You just get to just enjoy, like literally, like you're one of those
you just
people
wander
just
around, be an
yeah,
earth angel, help other
yeah,
people get to
yeah,
that
you're
point
just
too.
yeah, you just sit on the beach or whatever, you know, just like you have it all and it's just just fun. There's no like it's mainly like I've heard this before, like a rest life. You come in to rest, but to experience being physical, in that way. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
have like
yeah,
a specific, like you've already completed all of it, and you're just coming to enjoy this place, So I was like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna complete it in this one, I don't need to come back and have to do it again, like start over again. Um, you know, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
yeah, so
That doesn't appeal to me either.
no, no. So it's like I was like, no, I'm on this healing journey, man. Once I hit that rock bottom again, I was like, nope, you know what, man? I ain't starting this over again. Like now I'm on this healing journey. Back then I said that, and whatever I needed to do, so it's like I'm doing it, But it's interesting that you said that I it makes a lot of sense. It makes sense, there was something I wanted to add to it and I totally lost it. But I think that we are at a stage where we're remembering all this stuff, where we're realizing, more and more of it all. And yeah, you're right. If you don't want to exercise, if you don't want to and you want to resist it, then yeah, I mean, there could be the tower, so-called tower moment, or um and I guess, as I said, it makes, if you look at it in a bad way, then it will be,
Yeah,
you know and if you don't, and you see it as, oh, okay, this is showing me something, this is I'm waking up from it, I'm understanding more now. um but the one thing that I think that I've been realizing since the solar eclipse for me is the unknown, how much everything is, um like what you said, that now it came to me. So you said you can choose to potentially keep that relationship, whatever that relationship is, whether it's a friendship, whatever it is, or not, or choose not to, right? And I feel like you don't know what that relationship is bringing, like what is it going to, what I kept getting, like even recently, is like a bridge, seeing a bridge
mm,
and then not seeing the other side, and just seeing it being very foggy. And I've been seeing this for like years now, just a bridge, and like I'm starting to go across the bridge but I can't see the other side. It's really thick and foggy. And that's something that has frustrated me a lot with the human experience in general. You're like, okay, I take this path, um And I meet
Yeah,
this
having
person.
to have that trust. Like
Yeah, having that
it's like what they
trust.
say, it's like driving at night. You can only see with where your headlights are just going to show up so much ahead of you. So it's
Exactly.
really such a leap of faith, to just, so it's like that, I think, but we don't have to know. Like, I just feel like take the first couple of steps and the next ones will be revealed to you. And as you step onto that bridge or whatever, you step into that cloud and just use your intention to have clarity and just like wave your wand of light, to disperse the clouds and see, like, and that's what I also think. Call on your angels, call on your guides to, like, okay, I'm here, I'm on this bridge, it's really cloudy, I don't know that I want to take, like, could be an alligator right there, like, well, how do I know? So that's when, it's exaggerating, but just calling on your angels and ask for assistance because they're
That's great
always
advice, because there's certain things I'm experiencing in my own life that um I feel like humanity in general is leaning towards
I'm kidding.
everything.
Just
Yeah, I
walked
saw
up.
him walk into the in front of the camera. I feel like humanity is moving more and more towards unknown, like where we have to really trust, and we're being shown these, like, you see this thing that you may step into, but you're like, oh my God, there's a lot involved with this. And or how here's a good example. Let me just give this, because I keep telling people about this story, about Sarah's story, Sarah
Yeah.
Landon.
Mhm.
And because it's like I've told numerous times, or because it's like it resonates really hard with me, with just the unknown, and how she sat in the audience with at the Hay House, many of them, and never, and always saw herself speaking there and having books and all, but never knew how, coming from the corporate world, how it would happen. And then 10 years later, she's on the stage and she's got books with them and all these things that she could have never imagined. And that's the whole thing, that what you said with the leap of faith, and um being completely clueless as to, I don't understand, like, this, but yet it feels good, and I don't know how this is even going to be possible, or I could have never even thought of this, or it's like, and that's the part of free will that confuses me, because it's
Mm.
like you're like choosing these little parts, but then, and painting that part, but then it's like it unfolds completely in a way that you could have never even imagined, and that's the part that, of us planning and all of those kinds of things. So I kind of feel like, I'm like, oh, but if you take this road and this road is in alignment with you, this is where you're going to end up, but you can't see that yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the timeline is already there,
Yeah.
where you could take this road and then this is the outcome, but you can't see that yet. Your higher
But
self already knows it.
yeah, but I think you'll be, and not every road less traveled that is like a smooth road
Oh no.
either. And you didn't
No,
sign on for that.
no,
We
no,
didn't
no,
all just
no.
come, I want the east. Well, maybe some people want the easiest life possible. I just want to walk down the, I don't know, paved sidewalk. I don't want to be hiking in the woods, even if it's a clear trail. But
Yeah,
if you
yeah, yeah.
choose to go down there, that's where you're going to see the birds and other wildlife and stuff that you're not going to see if you're walking along the sidewalk at the water's edge, in a city or something. You're not going to
Mhm.
have the same experience. Both people are, maybe they're walking and their minds are out in nature, but for one, they're immersed in nature and they're really connecting. And so, like, I think, like, we make our choices, and then, but the person who is walking along the sidewalk might be doing that for, like, well, I want to be with this friend who is maybe a little more limited in where they can walk, so I'm going to walk with them here. And then later today or tomorrow, I'm going to take myself out to the woods where I want to be. So you still have that free will and that choice. When am I going to immerse myself? I just feel like the things we're meant to experience, or they're things that our soul wants to experience, they're going to happen. Like, we're going to meet the people we're meant to meet. You might meet
Yeah,
them at
yeah,
different
yeah.
stages of your life, depending on
Even with the
choices
resistance,
that you make
yeah,
and
even if,
choices
even,
that they
yeah,
make. And I
yeah.
feel like those things
even with the resistance,
Not that they're,
uh,
sorry, not that it's all like preordained and we don't have choice and we're walking around like little robots, but just like the important things. If it was important enough, we wanted to come down and basically just experience this life. But then I feel like that's the experience that everybody came for. That's why we're all here. Our souls wanted to be here. But then within that, it's like well, I think I want to ease pain and suffering by sharing about people's higher power, or somebody else might want to ease pain and suffering by treating the body with more respect and putting less chemicals and medicines in, but holistically, and making that more available to people. Or, there's all these different routes to take. I
yeah,
don't know. I don't
that's
worry
what,
about it. I
that's
just know it's all going to
what I
be
just got when
the
you
Sarah,
said that.
Sarah,
That's what I got when you said that, like we already created, like when my dad was still here, there was a timeline with him healthy, and then there was one with him sick. And he did get told he had a certain amount of time, and he could have exercised his free will and chose a different timeline of one that he was healthy and went down that road. And so it was like I that's where I think that we're coming to the point, realizing, like I'm realizing as we're speaking about it more, the timelines are all created. It's like your free will of which one you want to choose to take, just like which road you want to take, um,
yeah.
because there is a healthy version of you and there's a not so healthy version of you. And there's one that's, more confident, and one that's, so it's like so many different, I believe hundreds, if not thousands of different timelines,
Oh, yeah,
that we
yeah,
can
yeah.
choose from, which is our free will, and then in that, there's going to be these people that we may come across as we go down that timeline, or, we'll trigger or onset this meeting, or, and at the end of the day, though, I believe that no matter what it is, no matter if it's something like an illness and you pass away, that it still was meant to be, because my dad had three different points in his life that he had cancer, and the third one is when he was gone. And so it just, I don't I don't believe that that was not an accident, that I believe it was meant to be finally, because of just seeing the two other times that it could have happened, and it was so close, if not closer than this one, where he was told a week versus the other one was like 3 months,
Mm.
and he still had opportunity to make different choices, and so yeah, I think that, yeah, there's things, like you said, things are going to happen regardless, that you're going to meet these people, or you're going to have these experiences that your soul wanted, and no matter how much you resist it,
Yeah, and that's why I think sometimes we have these what we would call like a fated meeting, like we'll meet somebody or we'll say this is kismet or this is fate, this was meant to be. Those
yeah,
things are
yeah,
in our conversation
yeah,
and our language because I think there's a ring of truth to it. I think there are some things that are like meant to
yeah.
meant to come about, for our evolution, which is really why we're here. Our soul doesn't, our soul wants to keep moving forward.
And I think
So it,
too,
yeah,
it's the frequency too. Like, the reason sometimes things are delayed, it could be you chose something different, but like you said earlier, and then it took you a time to get to the same frequency or match the same frequency with that person to then draw them in at that time. And which can be altered depending on humanity, the
yeah,
collective, and like our own choices that we're making, whether you meet them sooner or later in your life, but probably you will at some point regardless, so yeah, I wanted to ask you something too, unless you had something else to add. How do
no,
you
I
feel about like pulling some cards for like the like doing like a,
okay.
what do you think about
um
that?
Well, I've got tons of Oracle ones. I've been reading. I should just let people, because people say, well, you are a reader. I have been a reader for professional with Oracle cards, and I have a deck. This is an Akashic Tarot. So what's new for me? So this is based on the other tarot. So I'm more familiar with the. I've just started. actually, my mother was a master tarot reader, and she gave me some lessons earlier in my life. And when she transitioned, she bequeathed her tarot cards to me. So just since the recent eclipse, I've been all of a sudden wanting to learn them. And I never touched them before. I like oracle cards. I like ones that, but
Yeah.
I've never been, and they're it's so steeped in mysticism, and it's so
Oh
like I've
yeah.
been just,
Oh yeah.
but when I say deep dive, I've been like diving into the history of it. I've been like exploring all of it, but I'm just learning those cards. But I will, yeah, let's do a card reading for the
Yeah, I
for
figured we'd
anyone
do a quick one
watching, for the
to wrap up
general.
the session.
Yeah, that's a
Or
cool idea.
yeah.
Okay.
I know I put you on the spot, but
That's okay. I haven't touched this deck in a while because I just kind of, it's funny, I've got like 40 plus Oracle decks are all lined up behind me. Can't see too many of them, but I haven't even been playing with them lately. I've just been like, not really speaking to me. But so because of the other ones, the wanting to learn, like, so I'm really having a lot of fun with that. And obviously that's why, when we're totally consumed with something, that's an easy way for our higher selves to reach us too, because they know that that's going to get our attention.
yep.
So should I do, I'll draw a couple, because sometimes when you just draw one, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, do a
So,
couple. We'll do a couple
so
quick
let's just
quick
say
ones.
what could be the outcome over the next, say, 24 hours or 2 days, 48 hours, let's give it, for the majority of the collective who are watching, like what's going to be, where is their energy? Right, let's ask it that way.
Okay.
So asking about the energy for the collective for over the next, okay, so now I'm just gonna, this is a big deck to do this with, but I'm just gonna draw some. Usually I flip it out a different way and I'll get like a jumping card. So I'm just gonna, and normally I would light my candle and everything to prepare too. So this is just a very impromptu.
Maybe next time we'll do it, this is
Oh
just,
no,
I
no, I
put you
got
on
it
the
right now. I'm
spot.
just no, it's fine. I'm just saying that normally when I do cards,
no, I mean,
no,
no, I mean, next time, maybe next time we'll just, you can have the candle lit and we'll do all of it and we can
yeah.
we can plan it more, like, no, I'm not saying, no, do it. Yeah, definitely do it. But, yeah,
Okay,
we'll make it more of
this
a
is
thing at the end.
okay. This is really interesting. So I kind of did it like a um, past, present, future. So this first one that's sort of in the past, and this is all about. I don't know. Can you see there? It's the sands of time. He's watching the hourglass, and he's sensing that he's feeling pressured. He's feeling like he's running out of time. But so this card is just to say, and he's got all things prepared, but you can see in the background, what helps you interpret the cards is it's light pouring in the background. And there is, yeah, there is some urgency. There's still some stuff to do. So it's like, keep at it. Don't worry too much. You are kind of, this is the time. We are kind of running out of time so the scrolls are like your thoughts, what you're learning. It's like, I just feel like it's time to kind of take stock. If we want to make changes in our lives, like let's get to it, because there is still work to be done in that area. Now, if this had been in reverse, I would have said, oh, the sand is just tons of time. But I think time is a crucial thing right now. Like, I think it's, the time is now. Like, it's no more, it's just like, be ready for the changes. It's sort of in the past is what we're feeling. Um, so the next one, which is sort of represents individuals, whether you're a man or woman, this is the Queen of Forces. This deck is, I should give credit where it's due. It's called the Akashic Tarot, and it's by Sharon Ann Klinger and Sandra Ann Taylor, who are twins who create these decks. So anyway, there's psychic twins who create this. So she's a woman who she's all about balance. Everything in nature always wants to come into balance. So this card is you can ask yourself, where am I not in balance in my life? You see, she's holding the sun and the moon, you know, she's in the water, the earth. She's just all about like bringing everything to balance. She's got all this power. She has all these forces available to her, and you do too. So it's like you have all of this available, everyone watching, everybody, you know, has all of this. But to where am I not in balance? Where can I balance my life more? Maybe I need to be more active. Maybe I need to be less active. You know, maybe I need to be more cerebral or more spiritual. Maybe I need to dedicate more of my time to that. Maybe there's a relationship that's particularly not in balance.
Mhm.
So it's just to kind of look at your overall life and see, you know, where can I bring myself more into balance in terms of even on just an individual level, at what am I eating versus what am I, you know, am I eating more than I'm needing to maintain myself, which is going to lead to an excess, or am I depleting my body because, you know what I mean? So it's just about
Yeah, yeah,
finding your balance,
yeah.
basically. And then, so this is the future one. This is one of those that looks like kind of a scary card if it comes up, because I mean, I don't know if it can really.
No, that's good when you hold it back
So,
by you. Yeah, that's
oh, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so again, so this guy, it's a nighttime, there's the moon, which usually indicates like introspection. He's been burglarized. You can see his possessions are kind of laying on the floor about him, and he's obviously he's upset. He feels like there's been, you know, again, we mentioned the tower, but this is another kind of card symbolizing that, you know, the old is kind of, it's been broken into, it's disappearing, and he's grieving what he's lost down here. But there is a box that it's hard to see here, but if there's a treasure box back here, and that hasn't been disturbed. So he's got this treasure box that's sitting waiting to be opened, you know, like, so he's not destitute, he's sort of down in the dumps about it, but he actually has this treasure box like we all do, and our treasure is our higher self and our soul. So when we connect with that, there's always that, we always have that can't be taken from us. So overall, I think this is a good spread. It's just
Yeah, it
recognizing
was.
that even though things are breaking down, like there is, like just to sort of pull it all together, like I've told you individually, but to sort of read it as a story, there is the feeling like we're running out of time. I think that's pretty unanimous in the world right now, that we're out of time now. We need to get our shit together.
Yeah.
But there is still some work to do, because just as a recap, his sleeves are rolled up. There's still work to be done,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. I love that.
Then the second one is like, so you roll up the sleeves, you bring yourself into balance, and you, by doing whatever balancing your, you know, your actions that you're taking to support your, what you want to be creating in life. You
Yeah.
want to be a more spiritual person. And then with this being the future, is just to recognize, not to focus, like he's looking down there, he's not even paying attention to this, it's behind him. He's not even looking at this treasure box that's behind him. He's just so focused on what's been lost.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are right now. They're like, oh my God, the world's going to hell. Everything's being crumbling and falling apart, and woe is us, you know. But he's not even recognizing, but there's that light, and it's like right over his head. There's so much symbolism in tarot. So
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
got
I
that
love that.
light. The light is shining down on him, and he's got this treasure box, and all he has to do is turn around and open it. Like the light is like shedding light on that treasure
Yeah,
box. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
for all of us, we
So
have
cool.
all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have all of that available to us. So not to be, it's not as hard to be afraid of, but
No,
rather
no,
one to
no.
recognize that I've got all this still. So this stuff, maybe I didn't need that so much, but the really good thing is still there. So
Yeah, and
we
it's
all
like a
still
course
have our,
correction. It's like telling you course correction, you know, like look at,
yeah,
evaluate
pay attention
everything.
to what you have.
Yeah, yeah. Pay
Yeah.
attention, evaluate where you're at, what you want. Like, are you in balance? Are you not? I mean, I've been getting that a lot. I've got that for years. Comes up the balance thing, you know. So, just in my own self, you know, like I can tell. I'm like, oh, like no, like, yeah, I see it. I'm sitting too much, or I'm standing too much, or I'm, you know, like,
Yeah.
and that might be like a, you know, like whatever, like a surface thing, but it's like I'm noticing it in the physicality of myself, you know, like, oh wait, I'm sitting too much, my back's bothering me now. Oh, you know, I need to move my body more, that's still part of balance,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, I think you're right. That was beautiful. That was so beautiful.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah, I think,
I'm glad
yeah,
we did that. That was
yeah,
fun.
I'm glad. I think we should definitely do that again. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
we could absolutely can do
That
that.
was really good. That was really, I really
And then
love that.
as I get proficient at the original one, we can do these. That's what this was based on, but it has different energies and stuff and different images. But it is a tarot deck. It's just not the Rider Waite. But that's the one I'm drawn to right now because I feel connection with
Yeah, I
there's
have
just
that
so
one.
much to
Yeah, I
that.
have a few of them too, and I have the Rider Waite somewhere. I don't know where it is right now, but I do have it. Yeah. Um,
It's a
but this
good one.
was,
As I'm really
yeah,
learning about it,
yeah.
it's not so like some of those cards that were scary before, like the devil card and the death card and all these things. Is like really there's as you learn the meanings, they're not scary.
No, no, totally not. Totally not. But I have to say this was a fantastic episode, as I always say. But I really like this.
No
Uh,
good.
yeah, this was really, really good.
Yeah, we
Uh,
covered a lot.
yeah, we definitely did. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, share, comment, and like. We say it all the time, but please do. You're helping us to grow both of the channels and get the information out.
Yeah.
And
And we love the comments.
yeah, I love the comments and yeah, sharing your energy and thank you again, Alexandria, for another fantastic episode.
Thank you,
Um,
Darren. Have a
yeah,
great day, and everybody watching, have a
yes,
beautiful day wherever you
yes,
are, whenever you are.
exactly. Take
Yeah.
care, and we will see you soon.
Bye.